I don't know what that sound was. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Natives in America podcast, and you're listening to your host, Benjamin Juan, and my co-host, Sky Anto.
What's up?
There he is.
What's up?
Oh, yeah. I'm kind of still mixy, dizzy, ditzy in the head here, but we're going to pull through this one. We're going to be talking tonight's subject is going to be about what's hot right now. Or maybe it's not what's hot. Like maybe at this point everybody's so, heard enough about it and they're willing to move on. They're looking to say, fuck it. Like I think that's kind of how we got where we're at. And I think that's kind of how there's spikes going on. So anyway, we're talking about COVID, and in a weird turn of events, like I don't think we're even going to talk about it again until maybe the end of the year or next season. But we're talking about it. We're talking about COVID today because
it's
both,
back.
huh?
I said it's back.
It's back, people. It's coming back in force, and this time around, we got it. We got it, guys. I am unhappy to announce that it finally got me. I've got COVID. So if you see me, I've been home about 3 days now. Maybe 2. I don't know. The days have melted together.
Oh, hell yeah. The time is just, melted.
Yeah. Along with my brain. My brain has disintegrated slightly, I believe. Especially that first day where I realized it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to admit it.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to just mentally fight it. And that's when you realize you're sick and you start having those sort of strange thoughts. And I was like, man, I think I might have got the COVID.
The Rona.
I did a home test.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And when I saw the positive shit, because I've done a couple before and they always come out negative. But this time it was positive and it was like, I don't know. Like I said, it's all mental or what, but once I saw that, I kind of couldn't uphold this idea that I was healthy. I was like, oh shit, man, my stomach is hurting, my chest is hurting. I did have a headache a few hours ago, and it just came up on me.
Yeah.
And I try to it's been a couple days, been 5 days maybe a little bit more.
Damn.
But I'm still I took some naps. A lot of naps.
Oh yeah, dude, I've been napping.
So when I take a long nap, and I'll be like, man, I'm still recovering.
Yeah.
So the first couple of days I wasn't here at my grandma's. I was at my mom's, and I just kept thinking I dodged this for so long. And now it's here, and it's just like, what did I think in my head was going to happen, and then what is really happening now? And, I had some crazy dreams, too. Crazy dreams, because then I came to my grandma's house, and I haven't been here in a while, and that got me reflecting on some childhood stuff, and, I think me, honestly, when I'm sick, sometimes that brings out this other side of me.
Huh.
I always felt like when I was sick that I was able to work harder or somehow tap into this, unused energy that somehow I'm going to perspire and get it figured out. So, when you called me and they said I'm on the spiritual journey, I'm like, man, my head is just going through all this stuff right now.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like I'm not at work, I'm not doing something, you know, I'm home with my thoughts and my ideas and just all this stuff that I'm reflecting on, and it's like, that's a challenge. Just being home with your thoughts. You know, it's easy to just jump in a conversation with somebody and just talk it up and, you know, really keep it in a good energy area, but like, when you're home alone and you're, you know, having a hard time breathing and body aches, it's like, wow, like, am I even doing what I'm supposed to be doing? You know, I think the mortality of it too, because like I said, I had some crazy dreams. And it's just like, is that the whole? Because then after I try to figure out what my dreams meant, and it's like, am I just on the verge of mortality? It's just like, are you doing it right? You know, like, once this thing gets over you better start making some good choices.
Yeah.
Because I think that's it, too. It's like, you know how they say it affects everybody differently?
Yeah.
And so, like, when I got it, too, that was another mental way I was trying to think, but that's kind of went away. It's just also like, oh, I'm just going to just manhandle this thing and just get through it. It takes 5 days, I'm going to do it in 2 days. And that didn't work. So, like, this shit really is no joke.
Yeah. I was having a smoke the day before this all kicked off, and I choked. Like, I choked on the smoke, and so I coughed really, really hard. And this seems to be a pattern for me, is like, if I injure the back of my throat from like a bad cough, and it could be anything that sets off the cough, but like, what'll tend to happen, like, I don't get sick often, but like, if I injure my throat and I go to sleep, I tend to wake up with something, like I'll wake up, my throat will be sore. And that's how this kicked off. So I'm like day 3, I think. And it was like the morning before I had to go to work. I woke up, my throat was sore, and I was like, what the hell is this? Like, I didn't even do anything. I don't even know what I did. And then I thought about it. I was like, oh, well, I smoked, so that's what this is. So, sorry, throat. I'm just going to mouthwash and gargle some mouthwash. You know, I'll just shake it out. So I got up, took my shower, and in the shower I was like chugging mouthwash and like trying to, not chugging it, but like trying to gargle it. Trying to do that deep one where you let it go a little further than you want. You know, like trying to get that deep burn area. And I kept choking and coughing. I was like, that's alright, fuck it. I did it a couple of times. I was like, cool, well, I'm gonna go to work. And when I got to work, I was early, like maybe 2-3 hours. I had gotten a weird ride, like a ride that I haven't regularly been doing. So I got there all early, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna lay my head down and chill until then, because I didn't really sleep well either the night before. So I'm at work, I'm laying there, and then when it came time to go on my shift, I was kind of exhausted, and I was like, I shouldn't have laid my head down. Like, now I'm burnt out again. And that's all I could think was like, none of this makes sense. Like, it's all right. My mom had showed up to this house, and she was telling me, I told her, I woke up with a sore throat. She's like, you better get tested. I'm like, no, I know what this is. I'm not worried about COVID. Like, it's not COVID. Like, that's stupid. Like, no, I just hurt the back of my throat. So I'm going to have to deal with this sore throat. We'll be all right. And then at work, occasionally we get hit by these rushes where we just get buried in work. Like, we're just boom, 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 and it all adds up. And, like, when I got there, it was like that. And it didn't stop. Like, it was, like, just non-stop, like, tickets, orders, and I'm trying to knock out these orders. And next thing I know, like, my whole body started aching. And I started getting, like, kind of short of breath. And I kept trying to work because it wasn't stopping. It wasn't like I had a break. It was just like, damn, go, 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 go. And at some point, I started kind of getting like a little loopy. Like my mind started slipping a little, and I started kind of getting a little hazy, like a brain cloud, you know. And I was breathing kind of heavy and sweating, and my whole body was aching, and I was like kind of having trouble holding my body up. And I just told the guys I was working, I was like, hey man, I was like, you know what, like, if I don't get my 15-minute break right now, I'm probably gonna go home. So I need my 15-minute break. He's like, fuck, like. So we knocked out a few more orders, and he's like, all right, go chill. Go chill, take your 15. I was like, cool. And I went and ate something thinking, oh, you know, I didn't have breakfast. So that's why I'm burnt out. You know, I didn't get enough sleep. I didn't have breakfast. That's why I'm burnt out. And I went in, ate something. I didn't quite feel better, but, you know, I got a little boost. So I was like, all right, fuck it. I can do this. I'm just burnt out. I should have slept. I should have done this. I went in, and maybe another 10, 15 minutes, like I worked harder again. I was working. I was like, cool. And I kept watching the clock. Like, you know what? I can do another 4 hours. I was halfway through my shift. I was like, I can just buckle down and do this job. And then in that 10 minutes, I could barely stand. I was like leaning on shit, had my hand on the counter. I was like, okay, this isn't working out. So finally, I just turned to my supervisor. I was like, hey, dude, I was like, I'm going home. Like, I didn't even ask him at that point. I was like, I'm going home. And so one of our guys had just gone to lunch, and I was like, look, as soon as that guy gets back, I'm going to work. I'm going to continue working, but as soon as that guy gets back and you guys have enough hands, I'm going home. And he's like, all right. And then, like, we were so overworked, there was so much going on, that they had called for other help, and this other guy showed up, these other chefs. So when they came in and I saw they had help, I was like, hey, these guys are here to help you, right? And they're like, yeah. I was like, cool, I'm getting out of here, dude. I'm going home. And I went out, and that's when it like hit me how bad it was. Like, I had to go talk to the other bosses, like the bigger bosses, and they're like, hey, how you feeling? I was like, you know what? Like, I feel like I'm on the verge of crapping my pants. I feel like I can't think straight. I can barely stand up. Like, I'm kind of sweaty. And they're like, you got a fever? And I was like, you know, I didn't even think about it, but my head's kind of hot. I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm kind of all over it. They're like, you think you got COVID? I was like, nah, I was smoking yesterday and got my throat, so this is whatever's from that. And they kept looking at me and kind of staying their distance, and I was like, that'll be all right. And they're like, well, you think you want to get tested, and shall we start you on the 5-day COVID track? I was like, no. I didn't want to like lose work, so I was like, you know what? I'm off tomorrow. I'll go home right now. I'll chill out tomorrow, and then I'll call you, and maybe I'll come into work the day after. So I still thought I'd go into work, you know. I was like, this thing ain't keeping me down. I don't know what it is, but it ain't keeping me down. And then I sat outside and I was waiting, so like I called for a ride, and it was a long wait because, you know, they weren't expecting me to call. And the whole time I was just sitting on the sidewalk, and I was just getting lower and lower to the ground, like it was almost like I was high or something. I just kept leaning lower and lower, like if I didn't know there was all these cameras pointing at me, I'd probably lay completely flat on the sidewalk with people walking by. Like, I didn't want to cause a scene, so I just kind of leaned like a few inches off the ground against this light pole. And my mouth, like, I think that's when I know I'm really exhausted or sick, is when my mouth just kind of hangs open. I was doing like this crazy like bulldog underbite thing, and I came home and they're like, hey, you better take a COVID test. I was like, sure, like I need some kind of explanation. And we took it, and you know, it says wait 15 minutes, and that sucker said I was positive like within 5 minutes. Like, it did it real quick. Man. Big solid line. It wasn't like, oh, is this a line or not? No, it was a fucking solid ass line. I was like, God damn.
There's still the like it can't give you an answer.
Oh yeah, the false positives.
something like that.
Yeah, like it could be partially visible line, like there's a line there, but you don't know if you look at it at a different angle. But my line was like somebody took a marker and just marked it like dark ass line.
Like as soon as it got the drop, you got COVID.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, bro, you got COVID. Don't even set the clock. You got COVID, bro. And my sister just yelled at my niece as she was close by to me. She's like, hey, get away from your uncle. I was like, I felt all bad. I felt like a leper. I was like, damn, can't get no love. Just stay away from him. He's sick. Yep. I felt like a zombie, like, oh, get away from him. He wants brains. To get you sick. If he spits in your eye or coughs or laughs too loud, like, you're sick. And at that point, it was like an eye-opener, like, holy crap, like, this is it. COVID. So I called my bosses and told them the next morning and just said, all right, start the track. So now I've been off 2 or 3 days now.
Oh, damn.
And this is probably the most rest I've had since I started working, like 2 months ago.
Huh.
Like I've just been in bed in this room, like I haven't been leaving it, just in the room, either the room or the bathroom. That's it. And damn, I think it's crazy to be on the other side, because the whole time before this, I was like, Jesus, this, it's like, I don't know how, but it hasn't gotten me yet,
Mm.
I don't know. I don't want to say it emboldened me, but it was like, like the threats. We're back up to DEFCON 4. It's okay, people. Like, it's not too bad right now.
Oh yeah.
Well,
a lot of places where I think that's where I fell. I fell victim. Well, just because I usually rock the mask and I feel comfortable with it, but then that was it was something where I think I put myself in a lot of places where people were still wearing them.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, and I was already kind of falling off, like either forgetting. I mean, I've always been that way, but like forgetting to bring them in the morning and just kind of just stealing one from some place, just like not really being responsible about it. But the weekend of, I wasn't really using it as much, and but I wasn't, just I don't even know. Like I think about it too, like, because I've gone swimming before, but I'm like, is swimming not a good thing for COVID?
There's COVID in there, bro.
But I've gone swimming before, and then nothing happened. So
yeah,
I was very comfortable. I was in, like where there was a lot of people, and I felt very comfortable to not wear a mask and still be in your socially distant area. Like,
yeah,
like if I still felt maybe I got too comfortable, But
yeah, like, complacency.
So yeah, that was kind of the feeling of like, oh, I'm okay, and then
it's okay.
Then I get home, and then it seems like it's getting a lot less painful, but it just seemed like that first day and second day where I was really like aching and just getting pulled at in my chest area. It's like there's something pulling it.
Damn.
So, but so I guess what were your, like, do you believe it now? I guess as far as, because I think that there's this point where people are always trying to like ask if it was a real thing. Is it a real thing? You know, like
Jesus.
Like, have you ever thought about that yet?
I've bought into the theories of it being on purpose. Maybe not so much that it's fake, but that it's on purpose. I think they call it a white flag operation or a black flag operation, where a government will cause harm to its own people in order to rally either money or support for a new idea they're trying to push. And for a while I started buying into that, thinking, all right, if we released it on purpose, maybe it was to scare people. You know, that's always been a tactic used by the government, is fear. And then at the same time I was thinking, all right, well, it's basically enforcing online commerce. So we're getting our food online, we're doing our banking online, we're paying our bills, we're even working online. And a bunch of companies stand to benefit from this, especially government-funded. Well, I guess if the government's funding it, it's by us anyway. But what I'm saying is, like, companies that are owned by the right and wrong people, you know, the right people are benefiting from death and mayhem and all this, you know, caused by the virus. And so I started buying into those theories. Like, like, not so much that it's fake, but that it could possibly have been released on purpose. Because I heard a virologist on Joe Rogan's podcast where he was talking about how this virus came out. I think he was specifically talking about when it first came out, how it had many advancements that if it had naturally occurred, it would have taken a long time to do. But if you're messing with a virus in a lab, you are causing things to happen in steps and skipping like evolutionary steps, but you're making it happen by changing it. And this guy was saying it had the characteristics of this virus had markers in it that kind of pointed to the fact that it was created. It was man-made, you know. It wasn't just done up all on its own. It wasn't like a new virus coming out. It was like, all right, this thing was created. And then there was all this discussion about where it came from. And that, I'm sure that's still up in the air, right? Like, nobody said, oh, this is where it's from, right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong on that? I could be reporting wrong here. I'm not a reporter. I'm a home podcaster here. So yeah, what did you believe? Did you buy into any of that?
Well, I thought about it. I mean, I think that was kind of where my head was at when the first few days going through it was just like, if this is made up, why did it? What was the purpose of making it? You know, or what was the agenda behind what was going to happen to, I guess, to myself as I'm going through it. But, like, you know, just kind of thinking, like, going forward, what do I know? But then also, like, I still, even though it's out here, I still need to be out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still things I need to be out doing.
Yeah.
So if I'm still going to be doing those things, how do I need to operate differently now? Because I know, even though I felt safe, like, maybe I wasn't being safe, you know? So it's just like, it made sense to how, yeah, maybe in the world, in the future, we're more isolated versus together.
Yeah.
And, you know, the transferring of goods to to your spot versus actually going out and getting it. It's going to be more of that type of transactions, and it's even, less. I guess me trying to document how much I am by myself, like in the room by yourself, I guess I'm more going to be more aware of that. But it's like, as I'm thinking about like those theories, I'm like, is that what it was meant for, to get me to think that way, where I'm calculating my time alone versus when I'm doing things. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but that was what I was thinking. Like, if this is real, feels real, then what am I taking away, or is there anything I'm taking? A lot of it just reminded me of being sick when I was younger. Like, first time getting really sick and having to stay home from school and just kind of going through that experience. Because I remember being, like, pretty sick in my younger years, like, I guess first time getting hit by those big colds where, you're on the shitter constantly. You're just, not yourself. I don't know how to describe that feeling.
Yeah. Well,
it seems like now we just work through it. Maybe that's where the world is kind of icky. It's like we're just, even if we're sick, we still push through, and I'm guilty of that myself, but like, I don't know. Sorry, I cut you off.
I already lost what I was going to say, so it's okay. Well, I think you made a few points that I wanted to touch on. I have to say, I definitely got complacent, and like I had going to work, they were required to have masks, so like and even before that, it's like I got them out in public, I'm gonna wear a mask. Go to the grocery store, wear a mask. Go into any store where there's other people, I would rock the mask. But I guess I got bold. I took some chances. Not too long ago, I had gone, like, oh, hold on, I gotta take a note here. Yeah, I just got bold. Like, at one point, I went to a small concert, like a small venue concert, which I think might make us even more packed together. Maybe not. In your head, think about it. But I think we were wearing masks at that time, too. But I went to a concert, and I didn't get sick,
Oh, yeah.
I went to a gathering of people and I didn't get sick, so like that's obviously gonna embolden me and make me think, oh well, the worst is behind us, or oh maybe I'm the shit and my immunity, like I'm Superman, like fuck it, I'm immune, baby.
Yeah.
Like you get bold. So I've been to a concert. And I've been to the bars, and those times I didn't get sick. You pull your mask down to drink a beer out of a glass that has been washed, but sure, other people have drank out of it. And I didn't get sick. Again and again, I didn't get sick. So it's like, you start feeling like, it's bullshit, or, oh, it's no longer here. We've made it over the hump, like, everybody's kind of calmed down a little bit, just a little bit. Nobody's like ripping people's heads off for not wearing a mask,
Oh, yeah.
A little weird. And then at work, like, I work in a kitchen. I don't know if I've said that. I've been working in a kitchen at a casino. And it's hot in there. There's steam, and there's, super hot oil boiling shit, and there's, like, all this stuff going on. It's been freaking hot, but we were wearing masks when I started. And maybe a month after working there, they put out a mandate or whatever from the nation saying that they were lifting the mandatory mask thing.
Uh-huh.
And I think I talked to you and you said they didn't down in cells, but it was a tribal nation thing that they put out, and they said, all right, masks are no longer mandatory, they're optional is what they said. So I took my mask off. You know, I'm working in a hot kitchen, I took that sucker off, and even when I took it off that day, I was happy to take it off, but I felt naked without it. I was like, ooh, like man, like I'm out in the open, I'm naked, but I certainly don't want to wear it, you know? And funny thing is, like, I just had a flashback memory. Like, I was going to tell you this little anecdote, I think the last time we recorded. And I don't even know if it was that long ago. And it just made me realize maybe this is how I got it. But I was working in a part of the kitchen that I don't normally work at. So I was kind of by myself and closer to the crowd, to the customers. And I was sitting there working, and I had my back turned to the customers because like the whole station was like the opposite side of the aisle there. And I'm sitting there, and then I hear like, and I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, damn, like no. These days, I think, like you said, mentally, there's a mentality going on here. Where if you hear coughing, like coughing's a normal process. You get something in your throat, you cough. You know, there's a little dust in the air, you cough. The little, you know, water down the wrong pipe, you cough. Your drink goes down the wrong pipe, you cough. And sometimes it's uncontrollable because you really got it down in the wrong pipe. So to think how we've gone from, oh, somebody's coughing, I just hope they don't spit on me, to stop coughing, motherfucker, or get out, because you're probably going to get us all infected. I heard that coughing, and I was like, what the fuck? And I look over, and there's this kind of like couple of old ladies there. One of them was like coughing a fucking lung up. She had a mask hanging down off her face, like just over one ear, and she's coughing into her hand. And I'm like, you fucking whoever you are. I was just like, God damn it. Like, she was maybe 10, 15 feet away from me. And I looked at her over my shoulder. I was like, like, fucking handle that. Get the fuck out of it. Put your mask on kind of shit. Like, if you're going to be coughing like that out in public, put your fucking mask on. Don't have it hanging off your ear. Like, that, the whole point. What pissed me off was, like, she had a mask on. And in order to cough, I don't even know if she removed it to cough, but it's like, bitch, that's the whole fucking point of a mask. That's the only reason we're all wearing masks, is to stop your cough from getting on other people. And she had a mask hanging off her face, and she was coughing uncontrollably out in public in the middle of people, and she's coughing on her hand. Like, not into her shirt, not into her elbow, just right into her hand. I'm like, you bitch, you're the fucking problem, you know? And I remember just thinking, like, either stop coughing or get the fuck out of the line. Like, please, lady, you're killing me. Turns out she might have actually been trying to kill me. But anyway, I'm standing there, and I remember she stopped, so I was like, cool, it's alright. And then I remember she started up again, and I just stopped what I was doing, and I turned all the way around and just gave her, like, the stink eye, like, stop this shit, bitch, like, get out of here. Because she was like, I'm just like, God damn, lady, like, what the fuck? The whole point of the mask is to catch all that, and you're using your hand, you're going to be touching all of our shit, like, in retrospect, it was probably her that got me sick, but, she just kept doing it. I remember I looked at her a second time, and she caught me looking at her, like, really giving her this, like, uncontrollable stink eye. Because I was like, God damn it, lady, you're out in public. If you're going to cough like that, first of all, put the fucking mask on. You have one. You obviously have one. But you're dropping it, or you weren't even wearing it in order to cough like that? Like, where's your brain go that thinks that's okay? Like, I was just sitting there cussing her out, just grumbling, like, handle that shit, get the fuck out of here. You know, try not to be rude to the customers, but god damn it, I was like, you bitch, you need to get the fuck out of here. I'm grumbling, and now that I think about it, it might have been her that got me. But, I don't know, the point I was getting at was like, god damn, like, like, say she got water down the wrong pipeline. I was furious at her for coughing into her hand and with her mask just hanging helplessly on the side of her face. Like, at that point, you don't even need a mask if you're not going to be fucking using it. So, I don't know the point I was getting at. I was just saying, like, our whole mentality has changed, even though we're all like, oh, we're getting back to normal. I'm putting up quotation marks if you guys can't see them. I'm putting them up saying we're getting back to normal. And then you hear regular bodily function, and it either terrifies you or enrages you. You know, it's kind of an extreme now because of this whole COVID deal, this whole pandemic, as they call it. And now that I think about it, I think she got me. Of course, I found out after I called it all in and knew I was going to be out and that I definitely had COVID, that I found out a couple of my coworkers had it, or maybe a coworker, and I had been working around them, and I'm like Jesus, like nobody told any of us, you know? So if it wasn't that lady, then it was one of the people I trust at work, and they got me. And all these people who could have told us and didn't, you know? So it was kind of infuriating for me to think about this, and scary. You know, now that I'm on the other side of it, I've had horrible visions of losing my stepbro. You know, like, or not my stepbro, but my brother-in-law, my sister's dude. Like, that was, his death was the clincher for me that made me get vaccinated in the first place. Like, I wasn't going to do it. I said that the first time we talked about COVID. I was like, hell no. I don't want it. I don't trust it. I'm not going to do it. But after he died, and I saw how he died and how horrible it was like torture. They were torturing him to keep him alive. Is kind of how I saw it. Like, damn, it's a hard way to go, and I didn't want that for me. You know, I didn't want my kid to, you know, stepkids to worry about me like that and to see me like that. So I finally caved in. I finally caved and said, all right, I'm gonna get vaccinated. And at this point, now that I'm on the other side of it, I'm glad I did. Because, like, I've always had a kind of, like, touch of, I want to say it was seasonal asthma. So, to think where I could be if I hadn't, I mean, maybe this is the type. Maybe it's body sore. It's just body sore, you know? Like, I'm sore. I had headaches. I was weak. I was kind of dizzy. And I felt like I was going to crap myself, like I said. Like, at any moment, if I let out the wrong fart, I might crap myself, you know? And, like, I don't know, it's scary. I want to say I was justified now. Like, wow, I'm so glad that I got vaccinated. And part of me, even now, part of me is still trying to argue, like, oh, well, maybe this is how it would have hit me all along. Maybe not. I don't know. But the point is, I did get vaccinated, and it's not. I don't. Today, day 3, after I feel like I'm kind of back on my upward curve.
Yeah.
I want to say that it's like, wow, like, oh, this isn't life-threatening to me right now. It doesn't seem like it did that first day. Once I kind of really started hitting me, like, oh, wow, this is COVID. It's not just I'm exhausted. It's not just, oh, I have a coincidental sore throat, you know. It's not like, oh, I didn't get enough sleep last night. This is, oh, I might die too now. Like, plenty of people have died from this, and it sucks. It's even us on our chunk of land here, kind of separated societally. You know, we got it too. You know, reservations are getting hit all over the U.S. It's real.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it is, whatever you guys believe out there, listeners, you know, like, it's a real deal. People die. Like, actual deaths occurred. It's not like, you know, every one of them was shot by a long range shot, you know, that turned around a corner or whatever. This is people getting sick and dying. And it eventually hit home where I started losing people left and right. And I was like, Jesus, that was probably the scary part about it. Once I saw that second line go solid, even before the 15 minutes were up, it was a real kind of clincher for me. I was like, man, this is hitting home. This is as real as it's gonna get for me personally. Like, beyond seeing somebody die, you know, or I guess I was hearing about it. I didn't get to see him because of the limited visiting. I wanted my sister and the kids to see him. So I'm saying, like, this was as close to home as it could hit. It was me getting it myself. And I also wanted to add, like, for anybody who's guessing, like, this isn't like me and Sky have been fucking up. We together have gone out and gotten sick. What's crazy is we've gotten it separate, all on our own. You know, when I reported to you, I was like, hey, man, I got COVID. And you're like, hey, me too. I was like, what? Like, what? Damn, we are healthy as a team. We podcast as a team, and we're gonna get COVID as a team, I guess. Like, I don't want to say Sky got it, and they're like, fuck that, I'm gonna go out and get it too. Nah, I just hit you up. You're like, hey, I got it too. I was like, fuck, what the hell?
Well, when we said it was hot, like, it kind of came back, like,
yeah,
with the vengeance, you know, like. Because when you were talking about returning to normal, like, when we use that phrase, we have to also remember, like, COVID's still around, you know. COVID's still a part of the storyline, because we still remember till the time when none of this was around, and when it's still kind of that mentally safe spot, which is, I don't want to say it's not important, but it's just like, we still gotta operate like this is around us. And if you don't want to be sick, then you kind of might want to consider some things, or I don't know. I just kept thinking, like, what could I have done differently, or
Jesus.
Was there anything I could have done differently? Because, like I said, I'm out. I have to be out. I can't be a caged lion all day.
Can't put Sky in the corner?
No, I need to get out, you know?
Yeah.
I want to be outside.
Yeah, I definitely want to be outside.
But, like, the normal COVID is normal, almost. Not to be negative or however you want to see it, but it's just like, damn, like that normal world we used to live in is got some COVID in it now, you know?
Yeah.
And now I'm just wondering if is it just like flu season or something, or, you know, like.
Every year we're gonna get COVID.
I don't know, just the way colds work and the way, like, the flu works, and just just have to rethink it all.
Yeah.
For me, that's how I've been like. What does it all entail? I keep talking about making better decisions, but I'm also like stepping up your game as far as being tactical. Like, oh, maybe I shouldn't go that way.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, maybe I really got to be strict on some of the things.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing too is water. Like the water jugs, like we're not supposed to share them, but it just seems like sometimes people share, and I think maybe that's how. I don't want to say that's how I got sick, but that was something that I was kind of being careless with. Like, you know, if you're out and about and there's nowhere to get water and someone asks you for some, you're kind of...
Damn.
Like, I don't know. That's...
Well, what's...
yeah, but that's me biting my own words for it's out there, because it's like, yeah, that's not a good thing to...
Well, what's freaky about that is we grew up, like, that's a normal practice, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you need some water? Have some of mine, you know? And not too long ago, like, I don't think it's even been 3 years yet since all this kicked off. Maybe almost 3 years. 3 years.
Yeah,
3 years.
3 years.
In the 35, 36 years we've been here. That's not that long a time, the 3 years. You know, and in that time, like, a lot has changed. And catching it now, it makes me think about all the stuff I see as a normal practice. You know, turning a door handle. How fucking dangerous is it to share doorknobs, you know? To go through a door that doesn't automatically open. And how urban is that? You know, how city folk is that? Like, oh, I'd rather have a door I don't have to touch. You just walk up and it opens and I go through. You know, I started looking at hand washing stations. You know, even before all this kicked off, like, I was looking at the soap dispenser, the faucet in the sink, and the paper towel thing. They were all automated. And there was even a hand sanitizer one right next to the paper towels. I was like, man, how crazy is it? And even our toilets, I think, that were in the restrooms, those were automatic. So it was like automatic. And the idea is, oh, this is cleaner, healthier, more sanitary, right? And then I get COVID, and I was like, Jesus, I was still around these things, breathing on them. You know, maybe I'd splash water on my face, so now there's splashed sweat on the mirror, on the counter, on the faucet, you know, probably on the floor. And then I go swinging around. I start, you know, shaking my hands or drying my hands, so I'm interacting in this little tiny space. And like I said in previous COVID episodes, like, man, if you really track, like, face touching, fucking, you know, touching regular, like, office supplies, you know, touching stuff in the kitchen, like, you touch a lot of stuff. And if you, like, oh, I'm going to wash my hands, from the time you wash your hands to the next time you wash your hands, there's all this interaction going on. And like, the freaky thing about getting sick now is, like, where did I actually catch this fucker? Who gave it to me? How did I get it? And then I gotta worry now too, like, the other reality of this is, how sure am I gonna be that people will be safe around me now?
Yeah.
Because I don't wish this feeling on anybody. Like, it doesn't feel too bad now, but I don't wish it on anybody. Like, even the slightest of a fever, you know, the slightest headache, or, you know, the dizziness, or crapping their pants. Like, I didn't crap my pants, but I'm saying I damn well could have. And, like, I'm sitting around thinking, like, you know, everybody's got these policies. Oh, quarantine for 5 days, 6 days, 10 days. How is it possible that any of that's right? And they all seem very short. And the crazy thing is, people fought for that. People fought to shorten it. People are fighting to lose the masks. You know, we're fighting to make ourselves more vulnerable.
Yeah.
And it's not about, oh, we want to be safe. It's more about, oh, we have the right.
Damn.
And we're flexing that. Oh, I got the right. So I don't want to fucking wear a mask. I shouldn't have to. But there's plenty of innocent people all around you too. And like I'm a hypocrite in a way to go like, hey, I went to the concert. Hey, when they made masks optional, I took my mask off. And then here I am at the same time going, damn, like we fought for this. People are out there arguing about this. There's people making laws about this in different states, in this state, whatever, like. It's like the American flex of rights, you know? And I kept thinking, like, damn it, there's a time for that and a time when it shouldn't be. And I think in the pandemic time, you shouldn't be fighting to be more vulnerable. And then I'm sure there's a whole group of people or a class of people or whatever that are saying, hey, it's my right to be vulnerable if I want to be.
Yeah.
And fine, fuck it, go for it. But at this point, now that I am sick, it's like, damn, what can I do to make sure? I better be sure. I better be certain before I go back to work. And they're expecting me back on the 6th. And I asked them, like, well, am I going to wear a mask then? And they're like, yeah, you got to wear it until the 10th day. And then you don't have to. And I'm like, cool, I'll take the mask off. And then I thought about it. Damn, should I just be wearing a mask anyway? Like, I'm in a very public place. It's a casino. And I think our number one consumer that is there is this vulnerable population of elderly people. You know?
Mm. Yeah.
So it's like, Jesus, like, and I'm still kind of pissed that somebody was around me sick and they either went out or they came to work and we were none the wiser until now, hey, I'm sick now. You know?
Mm.
And I'm afraid to be that freaking outbreak monkey for somebody else. Like, I can live with being stupid enough to get myself sick, but dumb enough to get other people sick and possibly put their lives at risk, that's a weight I don't want to bear. But it's here, you know? It's on my plate now.
Mm. Oh.
And what's funny, too, is it always is. It always has been. Like, even long before COVID even existed, like, it's on us to wash our hands before you prepare somebody's food. It's on us to, you know, cover your damn cough, cover your sneeze. It wasn't COVID that made this a reality. It's really like it's been here all along. You know, that danger. I think I've said it several times. I don't have to think about it. I said it several times on this podcast that I'll be listening to I'll be listening to like stand-up comedy recordings, and the entire time, if you're really thinking about it, like normally if you're jamming it and you're listening to the comedian, you don't hear it. But if you really listen to a comedy special, people are coughing through the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
And that was acceptable, you know, pre-COVID. It was perfectly acceptable to just start coughing and not get out of the room, not go running, not pull your mask up that you didn't have, you know. So we're in this like post-COVID world now, I don't like it. I'll tell you right now, I'm definitely one of the people going, I want to get back to normal. And here we are again saying, I don't know what that looks like anymore. What kind of world it looks like where I'll feel as comfortable as I did as a kid to just drink out of someone else's water bottle. The funny thing is, as a child, I thought that, I saw that as like, hey, this is a TO thing to do. Yeah, this is native. We drink out of the same bottle. It's community bottle. You know, I was proud of that. As a kid, I was like, oh yeah, drink out of my bottle. Go for it. It's okay. And here as an adult, it's like post-COVID, and even drinking out of my own bottle, I'm like, where's this bottle been? Who's looked at my bottle? Or like, where am I leaving my bottle while I go do something? Like, there's this whole extra think factor involved. And when you really sit back, like I've had a lot of time just sitting in this room to think about it. This is a freaky world we live in now. It's a little smaller, and it's a little scarier. Yeah,
but I think why that's so significant, sharing, because it's the person you're sharing it with.
Yeah.
You're not just sharing the bottle with some random stranger. You know, you don't know. You know, usually it's someone you feel connected with to where it's have a sip of mine. You know, that's in it, and I think that's kind of where it's like germs or boogers or whatever. You know, like it's acceptable in certain places. But like, I don't know, like people you care about, people you want to be around, like you'll take their sneezes, and that's kind of what the hard part about it is. You know, we could be the ones making our loved ones sick, and that's sometimes a tough pill to swallow. You know, because it's like, damn, like, I got you sick, and I got you sick, you know, because like when you're saying went to the concert, or, you know, because I went out, it's a lot of weight, but, I guess the reason why I brought that up was, I don't even know why I brought that up. I think it's just like I said, like I don't know, I'm lost now.
Okay.
I'm lost. I blame what we're talking about.
Yeah, this is well, I was talking about the world being scarier, and you brought up knowing that it was okay, knowing who you shared with because they were your people. Like, I didn't even say that, but yeah, as a kid, I was like, yeah, these are my friends. They can drink out of my water bottle. You even said, oh, my family, the people you're around, they're drinking out of it, and you go, oh, there's an acceptable amount of spit I'll take from a sneeze because they're my people. You know? And I started thinking about my son, like he kind of revels in drinking out of my water bottle. And now I'm going to have to watch him. Like, don't drink out of my water bottle. Even after I test, and hopefully I test to the point where it's undetectable, I'm still not going to let him drink out of my water bottle, at least for a while, you know? I'm going to have to disinfect it, you know, a couple times. And even then, I'm not going to be totally confident.
Damn.
It's freaky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where it makes you feel like we were saying a zombie or...
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like no one wants to be around you, or
get away from him. Get away from him.
I'm not looking at it like that, but it can feel that way, where get away from them, get away from him. You know, he's a bad guy. You know.
Yeah.
So, if this is a ongoing thing, is it? I guess how does that? Because we've always talked about how it's going to change the way we behave and what we do, but we still need to go out and do the stuff we need to do.
Yeah.
But like, that we can be constantly testing ourselves, like, oh, good, I made it, you know, or nah, I wasn't a successful trip, you know, I brought it. And, you know, it's just how much of it, like, everything we're going through, like, everything, is that still, is it going to be like this? Or is it just the fact that it's kind of happening just now?
Damn.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Jeez. I had thought of something to say, but I've lost it. Yeah, this is alright, so you brought up how I'm gonna. Is this gonna change how I react after?
Yeah.
It's weird because even now I got it, but I'm thinking about my mentality before, and it was like you still want to fight it and go, no, I don't want to wear a mask because I never had to before, you know? Like you're fighting it. It's that feeling like, fuck that, I don't want to. Like returning to normal is taking that mask off. I was thinking when we got the word that that we're clear to make it optional at the casino. One of my bosses came through and like announced it like triumphantly. He came through and held the paper up. It was like, hey, we don't gotta wear masks no more. And a bunch of us were like, fuck yeah. And like even one of the guys that I regularly work with, he never took his mask off. Like he continued to wear it and we're all without masks around him. Yeah. And I kind of think back about the time when they first lifted the mask ban, like nationally, and there was all these TikToks and YouTubes and like just all these shorts of people just ripping their masks off, like no more masks, yay! And they're, you know, throwing piles and piles of all the masks they had now. You know, they had bags of masks and they're throwing them over their heads and doing stupid dances like, yeah, it's over. It's over, we won. You know, and then maybe like probably less than a month later they're like, oh, there's a surge back on. Big surprise, you know? And I don't think I was reluctant to take the mask off. I don't think I joined in on that time. But this time around I was happy to take my mask off. I was totally happy. And what is maybe I want to say a little less than a month later, I got COVID. I have COVID. But this is, and at the same time, it's like, damn, it took almost 3 years to catch COVID. Even though it was like all around me, you know?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that too. Like, I remember thinking, just like I had a good run, you know.
Yeah.
Or maybe some other close calls where, you know, where you made it through safe. Like what, like almost 3 years, you know, and well, you haven't been sick, you know. So
yeah.
Oh no, I just always remember the news just sort of showing how where it's at in all the states, and I was kind of just thinking like, if I just stay in these areas, I'll be okay. And like again, I don't want to say I got comfortable, but I felt that normal was still. I don't want to say it was still a thing, but like I felt safe enough to be like, hey, I'm not gonna rock it today. I'm gonna go to this place. There's gonna be a lot of people there, but I know everybody else is being. And like you can't even like, I don't want to even put blame on anybody, but it's like it happened. But I don't know, I still, like I said, you still gotta go outside.
Yeah.
So
still gotta get your groceries.
There's still gonna be stuff happening.
Yeah. The world's gonna keep rolling on.
Well, it's like you're either sick or healthy.
Yeah.
And the world is so big that there's always going to be enough healthy people to have things to go to and stuff to do.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Just how big the world is, because it's like, there's so many of us that, we can argue about wearing a mask. Because I think that was another weird thing about it with the masks is that it was for health. It was for like health reasons, and it wasn't. And a lot of people took it as like I'm being forced to wear this thing, and I mean, there's a lot of gray area in between it because it's like people have their reasons for not wearing it, and everybody's situation is different. So that like, we have that opinion you have that right to have the opinion, but then I don't know, like, is it worth the distraction of maybe a common core, like all of us all being on the same page? Because that's where it's also the real part of it is just like.
What do you mean?
Like, the world continues.
Yeah.
Whether we're here or not. And now there's this, well, it's always been, but I think now that I'm sick now, I have to really be like, damn, it's a real thing and it's in my area. Because my body is like, and I don't know if that's just all the built up like info and stories we hear and we know about it, I don't feel like that with the flu. Only thing with the flu is like the flu shot. If you get the flu shot, sometimes the flu shot don't work, but with COVID, I don't know if it's just because we're in this new digital age, but we just got so much information and just, there's commercials on it, and so, like, I don't know how much that impacts getting it. But, yeah, I just, you get it, your health, or, that's another thing I've been wondering about, like the flu or, whatever's in the air, like, do you have to get, like, just a small pint of it, or is it, I don't know, just wondering how it all works, and, like, does somebody really get hit harder if they're, like, around a lot of it, like, we're saying, like, just getting it from touching someone's doorknob.
Yeah.
But, like, will that one doorknob transfer, like, just, take you down completely? Like, that's how strong it is? Or, like, I don't know. It's just, when you try to think about it, there's a lot of stuff you can't answer.
I heard it expressed as exposure. Like nurses and doctors are going and treating these people every day, day in, day out, and their exposure level's so high that when they get it, it's bad. And then us, like say somebody's staying at home all the time, but then they still go to the grocery store once a week or every other week or once a month. Their exposure level is going to be, that once a month deal instead of every single day, 30 different people at a time that absolutely have COVID, That's how I heard it explained, and I kind of bought into that. But like, even this, like, somebody brought up the fact that I could have had it already, and then when I finally injured my throat, that's when it took hold. Or maybe I've already had it. I was already infected, I was already sick, but I didn't get symptoms until days later. So maybe all this fear I have of going back to work and spreading it, maybe I've already spread it, So I think, like you said earlier, it's a mental game. This is freaky to think about. And since I'm all quarantined up here, I'm thinking about it a lot. Doing my best not to think about it, but it's like, damn, in a couple of days I'm going to have to go back. And I want to be sure that when I go back, I'm certain. And I even asked the people, I was like, is this... I told them I have a bunch of tests. I'll be able to test all the way up to the last day before I go to work. And I was like, if I'm still detectable, can I come into work? And they're like, yeah, that's fine. Just if you, it depends on how you feel. If you feel like you can't work, then don't come in. And I was like, wow, that's it. Like, they're like, yeah, if on the sixth day, if you still feel sick and can't work, then don't come in. But if you feel fine, then come in. And I'm like, wow, that's it. That's all you can say is like how I feel. And I'm like, even if I'm detectable, and they're like, yeah, if you can work, come in, wear a mask. And I'm like, Jesus, like, this is a sweaty job, This is a physical job, and we're in close quarters, in a kitchen, and we're handling people's food. And I'm like, okay, what if I'm still detectable and I'm gonna be in there working like that? It's freaky. It's scary. Like I practice good cross-contamination techniques and avoid that, and hand washing techniques and switching out gloves. Like, I work very hard to do that, but somewhere along that point, I got sick. So was it that old lady that I gave the dirty look to that, after they saw me looking at them, they kind of moved on? Was it her coughing all fucking hard and openly in the crowded area that got me? Or was I walking around with somebody, working with somebody, giving knuckles or just passing them by saying, hey, hello, how you doing today? And now I'm sick, like...
that was always something. I never thought about that now until you say that, but, when, at the end of the game, that's the sportsmanship.
Yeah.
To do is the teams shake it out. And
couple of ass slaps.
For a little bit of COVID, there was a point where it was like, they said no shaking hands, but like, I think it just kind of instantly, like, it was just out of habit we do that. So I was always like, sometimes I'll do the hand, sometimes I'll do the knuckle, for a while I was do the knuckle or the elbow, remember? But, now, like, shaking the hands is a normal part of the the process of the game, and it's not even like, again, that's your way of showing respect or showing good game, or I would just say, good game, guys, good game, guys. That's all I say. Even with the coaches, sometimes the coaches will give you a solid handshake or again, the knuckle, it's just, there's contact. And we played 5 games that weekend, and that was always something, a part of it, where we're shaking hands, we're touching each other. And I wouldn't, I guess not to say like, that we need to do that, but it's also just part of the game. There's already been contact for the entire game, so shaking hands is, I don't know if that would, like if they were to say, don't shake hands. But I never thought of that as like when you're talking about it, I'm like forgetting all these other times where, you say exposing myself or being exposed.
With the raincoat and no clothes?
So I won't even, I can't say I'll never do that again, because I just think it's a normal part of the...
Yeah, when I got hired, there was a lot of like, oh, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so, and like for me, I had trained myself to show respect by giving, making eye contact and giving a solid handshake and maybe even a smile to somebody you're introduced to. Like, hey, nice to meet you. And I was introduced to people after people, and there was always like this like pause. Oh, this is so-and-so and this is Ben. And then there's a pause, like, say something to each other, something. And my shoulder would move. Like, I want a handshake, like, automatic. I want to go handshake. They're like, oh. Yeah. And I pause and, like, pull the classic tombstone. Excuse me if I don't shake hands. And, like, some people will throw out some knuckles and, like, all right, I'll be grateful for that. Like, cool, that's clean enough for me. That's safe enough for me. But, like,
I like knuckles.
Yeah, like, it's okay. It's okay now. Like, I used to kind of hate it. Like, ugh, like, stupid, knuckles, but now it's like, knuckles, like, here. It's kind of easy to avoid that awkward, fucked up handshake where one person's going for the handshake, the other's going for the, like, yeah, boy, like, the full-blown, sequence handshake. So yeah, like, the world's changed, my man. How do I show respect that way, other than working with them or whatever? Like, there was a lot of awkward moments when I got hired and I was being introduced to a whole bunch of people. Like, it was almost like going against my own character not to shake hands, not to give that firm handshake. Eye contact, smile, handshake. So yeah, like, a whole other aspect too is enough people I worked with before I left knew I was under the weather, because I was like, I'm running out of steam here. And then I was telling my supervisor, I gotta go. And then there was like 2-3 bosses I had to interact with just to tell them, hey, I need to leave, and they're asking why. So like, I'm gonna see that at least the chain of people that I talked to that day saying I gotta go or I'm weak or whatever, they're gonna know at least when I come back I had COVID, or quite possibly still have COVID, and how are they gonna treat me?
Ooh.
I remember after
I kind of have it.
What?
I'm sorry, my bad. What were you saying?
I was just gonna say that after my sister, the whole family got it. And I remember after their quarantine, we went to go like take them out or have, go get some food or whatever, to hang out and watch a movie. And I remember like looking at them going, are we gonna let them in the car with us? Like, what are we gonna do here? Like, wait a minute. Like, how do we know did they test today? And they're like, no, it's been 15 days. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Does that mean anything? Like, really? Like, have they been tested? Like, what's going on? And I'm on the opposite end of that now. What were you about to jump in and say?
It was good.
It was good. I was talking about going back and people know that you have COVID.
Yeah, I think because you were saying the opposite end of it, where maybe someone close to you had it. And that was another thing too, was the people that you actually spoke to, that went through it, and they were returning back to work and talking about, just, I guess, what it felt like. And a lot of times it's like that. Like, I never want to wish that on anybody. So again, everybody's different. So, yeah. But going through that, I guess experience it for yourself, and actually seeing the reality of it when it maybe comes in your direction.
It's definitely another level.
But I'm kind of paranoid of what people might say, or how people might react. I mean, but I guess there's maybe guilt, because maybe that's what I've done. Maybe when someone I've known had it, or where I had to really second guess. One of my relatives got it, and they were telling me, like, because it's on social media, what we post, like, people can kind of just, create another narrative of, what happened, so, like, she was talking about posting stuff before she got COVID, and it was like concerts and, all these places where there's a lot of people, and, when she got it, everybody was like saying, because you're always out, you're always doing these, and just kind of saying, like, you got it because of what you're doing, and when she was saying, like, everywhere I go, I'm safe, and like, even not knowing where it sprung up on them, but like, I had to, like, be like, man, I was thinking kind of the same way, but, like, now, like, I felt comfortable, and I felt like maybe I was being safe, and you're still on that. Like I said, I keep telling myself it crept up on me, because I felt like I was avoiding it for so long.
Yeah.
So I'm a little paranoid of what people are thinking.
Yeah.
And not saying, because it is uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is. Well, that's what I was saying about the cough. Like, it's a normal function, but now it's like, I was giving this old lady a dirty look, like, bitch, get the fuck out of here, like, with your coughing ass, Get out of here with your coughing ass. And I was like, with your Rona ass, get out of here. Like, why are you even here at work? I have that to look forward to. And I'm probably going to have to explain to everybody, like, oh, yeah, this is what happened. Then they're going to kind of take 2 steps back, make that face, like, yeah.
Tying their mask.
Yeah, pull the mask out of their pocket and put it on. Yeah. I'm thinking about my earlier days at work, too, when all this shit kicked off, like, after I got over the whole general insanity of trying to track it and make, catch it, like, oh, I'm gonna wash my hands all the time. I'm gonna wipe every single thing down, and it's like that's damn near impossible. So then, what I had to compromise was like, all right, go to the restroom and wash your hands before the restroom and after the restroom. I was already doing that because my job was dirty as fuck. My hands would be all dirty. But, that was the general idea. All right, before or after the bathroom, before and after I eat, and regularly wash it here and there between what I'm doing, and I'll be fine. That's kind of how I had to tell myself that, knowing full well it's not that simple. I knew full damn well it's not that simple. But I had to convince myself, maybe even tricking myself into believing that I was safe just by making sure I did a little bit of regular washing, which I swear I did pretty much before all this kicked off. But I was making sure, I spent a couple extra seconds, little deeper scrubbing, paying a little more attention when you're washing your hands. Couple, you're adding sanitizer, not just water and soap. But what I'm getting at is, all this talking down, like, I felt, anyway, what I'm getting at is, you had to kind of convince yourself that that's okay, that that's enough. It'll do it. Wear the mask, wash your hands. Touch your face less. Because I swear to God, it's impossible to stop touching your face. Let me ask you this. Well, first of all, hold on, I'm choking here. In your recovery here, how far along are you?
I think this is like the 5th day, full day, pretty much. I'm kind of getting confused on when I'm starting, I guess, or when I started.
Yeah.
So the first day I denied it.
Yeah.
And then later on I said, I better test.
Yeah.
And so that was the kind of the shock. And then I just felt like that was another day. Then I finally started to do the isolation.
Let me ask you this.
Oh yeah, it's like the 5-day, almost 6th day.
Okay. All right.
And I don't even know what day it is. It's Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Or is it Friday?
It's definitely Saturday. It's my son's birthday. Which I haven't mentioned on the air here, but I had to miss my son's birthday out of fear of getting him sick. So I'm isolated, and I could only call him on the phone.
Damn.
So, what I wanted to ask you was, I'm going to give you an example here, is have you had a day where you felt like you were all better, and then it got bad again? Because, like, I think it was yesterday, I felt like enough energy to clean the room I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I was like, I think my fever had broken overnight, because, like, I woke up all sweaty. Like, I was like, all right, my fever broke. So I felt a little better about that. I was kind of regularly taking Tylenol for the aching, so I was like, I didn't feel that so much. And I was like, cool, well, I'm going to clean my room. And I got up. I started, like, moving stuff around, trashing crap that just shouldn't be there, you know, cleaning up my paper plates from eating. And at the end of it, I swear it wasn't a lot of work. At the end of it, I was short of breath, sweating, and just like exhausted.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, I guess I'm not as well off as I thought I was. And even now, like, I kind of feel like just talking for an hour straight here, hour and a half, like, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the labor of talking. You know, I think today was probably one of my better days. You know, I'm progressively getting better, but I'm not quite there. And I was feeling pretty confident earlier, and now that we're talking and going, I'm kind of getting slow on my breathing. You know, it's like, did you feel that at all? Have you experienced that where you're like, oh, maybe I'm better, and then something reminded you, like, oh, maybe I'm not?
Yeah, well, the first night when I was having these big chest pains, the next morning, you know, I contemplated, like, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to go to, like, when I know I can turn it on, you know, just, it's my alarm clock comes on every day, you know, at 5, 8.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it's time to turn it on, you know, if you're not already ready.
Yeah.
So, it came on the second time, I think it was on Tuesday, maybe. And by then, you know, I'm thinking just like, all right, thinking about work and what's there and what I'm needed to do. I'm like, all right, trying to get ready for the day. You know, usually I do that. Yeah. Before the day starts, I'm maybe mentally kind of like, what's at least on the to-do list so that I kind of have usually I do that on Monday, but I had already lost Monday and Tuesday, so I'm trying to like, all right, kind of in the middle of the week, wherever, what do I need to do? And I had no like my mind couldn't do that. I couldn't. It's like, you're sick. You can still call. You can call in.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, I'm trying to be strong, but I'm not. My body's still. Because there'll be a day. It felt like I was just napping, uncomfortable. I'll wake up in the middle of the night, sweaty. Yeah. And then I watch a lot of good TV. Mm-hmm. And then I would get knocked out again. So I think it was more stronger the first 2 days, but like now it just kind of certain waves where it's just suddenly, man, I am tired. I will take a nap. Yeah. But I don't know, when you were talking about returning back to work, it's like, does it really matter if you were sick? It's just when you get sick, you're more unable to work in the beginning, but as your symptoms go down, we're more comfortable with you working. And depending on where you work, it's maybe more pressure to come back versus maybe not a lot of come back when you feel better, when you feel right. It's almost like it's up to you when you feel it. Yeah. So you decide, but Yeah. I don't know. I'm thankful I have my sick leave and my leave. So, but like somebody that has pressure to be there at work, they might still be a little under it more. Yeah. Because And that's another thing I don't know. Is like, well, if I'm sick, how is it? Does it just dissolve, or is it? I gotta push it out, sweat it out.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I don't.
Yeah.
There's just all these other things I don't know. Where
how many cans of chicken noodle is this gonna take? Yeah.
For real, right? Like how many pounds of Vicks?
Yeah, right.
Is enough?
Yeah.
Or water, you know.
Yeah. What's been hitting me is like, even when I left and I could barely stand, I was apologizing, feeling bad that I didn't finish my shift.
Mm.
You know, I felt guilty, and even now it's like, damn, like I was scheduled at least three of the days that I'm supposed to be gone. Like once I confirmed COVID, they're like, all right, 5 days starting now. And I think already I was gonna have 2 of those days off, automatic. Like I was already having those days off. So like the 3 days that I'm not there, I'm like, damn, I'm letting my team down. And then it's like, okay, going back to work, it's like, okay, I'm letting my team down if I ask for more time off. But how much worse is it if I get my team sick? And then another thing is like, say I feel good enough to go back to work. Day 6 comes and it's like, all right, I'm good. I'm gonna go to work. How certain am I gonna be? Like, say it's undetectable, but I'm not 100%. Like, say I go in, I feel fine, and then we get a rush or we get hit. Am I gonna be able to maintain through a rush and a hit where like we're going? Like, am I gonna be ready for that? There's a lot of consideration going on. Maybe overthinking. I can admit I have a tendency to do that, but this is, even though I don't feel like a absolute life and death situation right now, I've definitely had moments where I questioned it.
Well, your health?
Yeah.
Oh,
no, yeah. Well, like a day or 2 ago, I was having, I don't know if you want to say an arrhythmia or something, whatever it was. Like I'd have a couple heartbeats and then there'd be a beat that like hurt my heart. And it was like a pattern like that, like couple of heartbeats, painful heartbeat. Couple of heartbeats, painful heartbeat. I was like, oh shit, like, okay, like, I was told by several people, especially my sister and my son's mom, so they're like, all right, don't be a hero. If you get worse at all, go to the hospital. And when that was going on, I was like, oh shit, like, this might be what they were talking about. Like, this is a new, what new fresh hell is this? Like, oh god. Luckily, I think I fell asleep, or it went away, or a combination of the two. But there was like a scary, I want to say maybe 3 to 5 minutes where I was like, okay, this might be what sends me to the hospital, And I think the other night, my nose got stopped up the other night, and I was like, I didn't realize I was having shallow breaths until my nose closed up, and I didn't have my nose to help too. So I was feeling like really shallow breaths. So I was like, oh god, like maybe this is it. Like, the scary thing about this is plenty of people have died to show that that's a possibility.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, when do I pull the trigger on that? When is it worth going to the hospital? I had 2 moments where I was like, is this it? And I just kind of played with my breathing, and like deep breaths, shallow breath, how am I okay? Is my heart rhythm fine? And I was okay after, or maybe I fell asleep and it was fine. But like I don't know. I don't know what the point is that I'm getting at. I'm just saying, like, this, when you said you were having heavy heartbeats, is that how you described it?
Kinda.
What did you say? It was heavy breathing?
Maybe like chest. It was more like something putting pressure on my chest.
Jesus Christ.
So I guess heavy breathing, but I didn't feel like I was having a hard time breathing. It just felt like there was an uncomfortable thing inside that was messing with my breathing. But I know that it's a respiratory.
Yeah.
Causes a lot of respiratory stuff. I think in that time I'm just like, man, I hope my shit is okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, because like we do question our health, and then I think we also sort of like compare it to this perfect, like Chuck Norris, person, that's always, doing the healthy way,
okay.
That's not the way I'm going, so sometimes I don't, but then I also do a lot of unhealthy stuff to where I can't feel like the, Chuck Norris,
You're so Chuck Norris guy.
Healthy mother. I mean, I'm trying. I'm on it. But I mean, I want to be healthy. I think I'm healthy in some certain aspects, but this really kind of, you really examine yourself and really have to think about it. And then what does being healthy have anything to do with living? If it's not worth it either, or how precious the moments are of life. We're not always guaranteed a particular amount of good times. So if you have fun, doing unhealthy things, then that's some people don't got it like that. But you can read it. But I think I figured that out a long time ago. It wasn't COVID that kind of showed me that, where we're not guaranteed any certain amount of time, regardless if you're healthy or not. We've talked about it before,
a bunch. We've definitely talked about it.
So just having that, I mean, going to this and then still knowing that, I mean,
I think humans in general have a habit of just comparing ourselves to what we know. We're not exactly health and fitness experts, but we've ran, a time or two in our past. We maybe had a smaller gut back in the days, so now it's like, maybe if I had that smaller gut, I'd feel healthier, or like just, this isn't as sick as I once was, so this isn't so bad. I think that's the freaky thing about being sick now with COVID is like, at times I don't feel sick at all. It's like, all right, I'm okay. This could be me on my weekend, just chilling in bed watching some TV. But like, I don't know what to compare it to. When have I ever had coronavirus before? Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. Like not this specific COVID-19, but maybe, the coronavirus was around long before this. On all the sanitation bottles, they said it kills coronavirus. And then all of a sudden, but I never really heard of it until it was on the news. And then it was like, coronavirus, Corona-19. And I'm like, what new thing is this? I remember in the beginning. So all I have to being sick right now is I definitely know the symptoms of having a fever, you know, or a cold, having a sore throat. I know what it's like to have, food poisoning. I was still, even before as I was leaving work that day, I was still saying, I'm pretty sure this is just food poisoning or me smoking the other day and coughing really hard.
Yeah.
I don't know who I was convincing, either myself or them. Like, I think it's okay. I might be back in a day or two. Like, I think I don't need the whole 5 days. And here I am, like, fuck, like, there's bouts of feeling okay. Like, maybe the Tylenol kicks in, or maybe, I'm getting just enough rest where I'm like, okay, I feel alright. Like, when I got up and cleaned the room. I think that's probably one of the freakier things about it is I don't know. I have no real concept to compare this to. And we as humans tend to do that. I had my aunt and my uncle, they're married. One's my mom's brother and his wife. And that makes her my aunt. My aunt and my uncle, they're chain smokers. And they had a bunch of friends that are big-time smokers. And they had friends that they were telling us, they're like, oh, they quit smoking and they died. They smoke so much that their body needs it now, the nicotine and all that. So they're like, you know what, we're not going to smoke until we die because, if we just quit like that cold turkey, we might die before our time. And I was just like, Jesus, when I heard that, I'm like, Jesus, that doesn't sound right at all. Like, no, like, cigarettes are bad for your health. And they're like, oh, well, these cigarettes are to keep us alive a while longer because we're half smoked now, like, that sounded crazy, but in their world, that made perfect sense. And so to them, that was their health goal. That was their health truth. And I think that's what's been crazy about this, like, as individuals, and we were talking about this in the previous episode, it was either the last one or the one before, about everyone having their own reality. It's like we've all got our own history of illness, and it's what we refer back to when you get sick again. So it's like, oh, you get COVID and you feel a certain way, like, oh, this isn't as bad as that one time, so maybe I'll be okay. Or people are going around going, oh, I run every day. I don't need to wear a mask. That's I think that's the funny thing about humans in general is that's what we go by. That's how we set our rules. And I really feel like that's why so many people are fighting the mask mandates and all that. Like their right to get sick is more important than protecting society in general, or whatever their reasoning is. Their reasoning is their reality. So, like, even now, being on the opposite side of this line that we've crossed here into sickness, like, I'm still holding true to my own beliefs and understandings of what's going on here. And I'm still referring back to regular sicknesses that I've had.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, all right, that this is how I know if I'm going to be okay to work. And people ask me, like, how are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm better than I was yesterday, but I'm still feel sick, I don't know the point of all this.
So that's the weird part about it is, like, they also, one of the things I remember, and even with the mask, I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but, that it has long-term effects. It's not just over. You just now you're been cleared, you're healthy again. It's like it affects the body like afterwards, and it kind of seems like it's more like breathing stuff where you're like easily winded, like. And then you gotta think too, like how have our bodies been impacted? Because we've been wearing masks. You know, the ones that been consistently, like how does that affect their health? And how does that affect, you know, their experience with COVID if they get it, you know?
Yeah. Shit,
how... All these,
sorry, go ahead.
There's all these other elements that, you know, we're not considering, but I don't know, I always think it too, like, we were talking about people smoking, like a lot of times on, that show called, like, 99 Ways to Die.
Uh-huh.
And, like, they always have some crazy way of someone dying, and they were talking about this, like, maybe a drug addict that goes sober for, you know, quite some time. Or they get off, they, like, say they do cocaine or something.
Yeah.
And that's their drug, and they need a lot of it. The more they are on it, the more they take to where they're able to take that amount. Then when they go cold turkey and they try to get back on it, they think they can still handle the amount that they were on before.
Yeah.
And that'll cause sort of like overdose or just, I don't know, but our bodies are, I'm not for sure why we brought this up, but it was like, I know it reminded me of what we were talking about. It's sort of,
I think this is our PSA now.
Like, that's what I don't get about the virus is, like, is it a big dose, or, you know, like, just that little bit knocks you good out, and I guess maybe being exposed multiple times if you're in an area where there's a lot of people, and it's not, I don't know. It's just the corona is just like, you wonder if that has anything to do with, if that impacts you, or if it's just everybody's just different and they're exposed. This is how it happens, like the other colds, you know.
Yeah.
But
for me,
I don't know, man.
Sorry, dude. Go ahead.
No. I'm lost, man.
Sounds like you're drinking out of a flask. Grandpa's old cough medicine. I think what we're getting at here is there's still a lot of misinformation. And there's still a lot of understanding that we don't have of the virus and what it's supposed to do to us. And we're still, our health, our idea of good health, or our mental picture of health changes through experience. And I don't think our experience has prepared us for this. You know, we don't know what a coronavirus does. Maybe we've had a coronavirus hit us before and just didn't know it, you know?
Yeah.
But now that it's been named, now it's like, oh, coronavirus, oh, it's out there. Look out. What I think is kind of interesting is if somebody has been hardcore about sanitizers and masks, and say they've avoided it as long as I have up to this point, you have, I have, how will that, like, if you were on that level of sanitizers and masks and then suddenly you catch it, how will that affect your future use of masks sanitizer, whatever tactics felt safe. Like I said, at work, I had to kind of convince myself this is safe. I'm doing enough. And really, if I really sat down, it was all bullshit, but it was enough to make me feel safe enough to keep working. To be in an environment that is inherently dangerous and exposed to more people than how many I was actually seeing, because I was working overnight. And the fact that the whole time I was working, I didn't get sick, even though people were getting sick around me. We'd hear the report, like, hey, somebody was sick, just letting you know. Not in your department, but somebody in the store. It's like, it's a reality check. And that's definitely what this has been for me right now, is like a reality check. Like, okay, it's still not safe. I was feeling safe. I was feeling complacent. I was feeling like maybe it's okay to lax on the mask. I've definitely been wanting to lax on it, Definitely couldn't wait to get that damn mask off. And shit, I bet you anything, it was either the injury in my throat or I touched something. Like, I've gotten sick several times injury in the throat, so like I said, going on experience, that's what it was to me. It's like, alright, maybe that's what it was. Maybe I had COVID on me and I was perfectly safe until I injured myself and had an entryway for it to get into my body. Or I've been carrying it around and I've been a carrier for days until the symptoms finally showed up that morning with a sore throat. I do not know. But like,
yeah, it's been a trip.
Yeah, it's an eye opener. It's a gut check. It's a reminder that we're still not out of the woods.
Well, I remember when I got a scare from thinking I had it because I had a cold and I had my headaches. This was about maybe a month ago.
Oh shit!
And I wasn't sick, but I had some type of whatever else.
Oh, that was sick.
Something else was going around, but like, or maybe I was just tripping that day. But whatever it was,
wow.
like, I felt sick and I had a headache, and I just had enough worry to be like, man, this could be it.
Yeah. That realization, that kind of pause, like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I remember when it was just kicking off the pandemic, and one of the other podcasts I listened to was a guy he works for the EMT, another reservation, and he was talking about how a lot of the numbers were going up, and that he was around it a lot, and just sort of how he was moving, all the extra gowning and whatever he had to wear, it was different because they were working with COVID people that had COVID. So he kind of said, like, I'm probably going to get it. And that was just sort of like, man, like, he doesn't want to get it. He's fighting. He's doing everything he can to not get it. But he's being honest and real with, the possibility of getting it.
Yeah.
So,
totally.
I don't know how that sits, but it's just kind of just sort of like, cause it was, I get it, cause if you're around it a lot, and you're having to work with the public, that's pretty much where you can get it, around people. but I guess not. Has going through this changed the way you think of how you react, or how you are with people? Like, kind of not made you rethink what you do, but just sort of, I guess, if it's still the direction you want to go.
Fuck. Well, like I said, it's already an eye-opener. It's like, fuck, I got it. Through whatever way I thought I was at, like whatever level of carefulness I thought I had, I can definitely admit that that I was getting a little too lax. You know what I mean? Like I got a little too comfortable. I definitely got complacent. And you know, did that lead to me getting sick? Who knows? Like, I think the very fact that the questions still remain is what makes this all fucked up. It's like, how do you defend yourself against something you know you still, like, even after getting it? I don't know how I got it. I just know I got it all of a sudden. And I gotta go, okay, well, how do I fight to not get it in the future? I have no clue. I don't know. I just definitely, the only thing I'm absolutely certain of is I don't want to get it again, and I don't want to give it to somebody else. Now, somebody there gave it to me, and I don't think they did it maliciously. They just did it. They showed up to work. They had to work, maybe, you know? And now I have it. And luckily, either I'm healthy enough or vaxxed up enough. I don't have the answer for that. People who are listening, I don't know if it's the vaccine that's made it so I'm not in the hospital right now, or if my big body is what's keeping me alive. I don't know. And at this point, I'm halfway through those 5 days, and I don't know. Based on just these couple of days, I don't know where I'll be at in 6 days. I can definitely say I've been feeling better than I did that first day.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, I had a surge on the other day where I felt like, oh, I could do some work. And after, 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes of work, I was burnt out. So, we're at the 2-hour mark here. I'm ready to call it, but I just want to say, like, I'm hoping everybody's being careful. Still do what you think you need to do. I think what this is more about is you got to realize what you're comfortable with. Like I said, I kind of had to lie to myself to be able to keep going to work when I was working at Lowe's. And this whole thing was still going on. It was like, I mean, it still is now. I'm just saying, like, in the thick of it, in the heat of it, I knew damn well, like, I had to be honest with myself, I knew damn well I wasn't going to be able to sanitize every single time I got on a machine. But I knew I could wash every time before I ate because there was a sink there, And I had to convince myself that that was enough so that I could continue to perform my duty. And I just used whatever knowledge I already had. And yeah, I have a little bit of medical experience. And I leaned on that heavily to say, okay, this is what I can and can't do. And whatever I have a memory of viruses, and I have to admit, some of my practices, some of my precautions may have even came from the threat of zombies, you know? Like, this was a new thing on me. I know of viruses, I know a little bit of how they work, and that was enough for me to feel confident enough to feel safe. And really, like, even without a pandemic, people need to know they're safe. Kids need to know they're safe. You know, you need some kind of stability, and sometimes you just gotta do what you have to do. So I guess what I'm saying is, don't allow your fear to cripple you, but definitely know that you're fearful for a reason. That this is real. Sky, you asked me that, do I buy into, is it fake or not? It's like, fuck, it's definitely real. People have definitely died. And people are definitely gonna still die in the future here. And it's real. So I guess what I'm getting at is figure out what you're comfortable with and stick in that pocket. Don't get complacent. Be safe and considerate. Like, if you're coughing your ass off, don't be standing out in a public area coughing on people. If you're gonna wear a mask, wear that motherfucker right, please. And if you're not gonna wear a mask, then, you know, consider the fact that there are people around you that are just fearful enough to keep their mask on. You're not the only one there, I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah. And for the love of God, be safe. Keep an eye out on your people and keep an eye out on each other. It's like, damn, we're all in this mix, you know, like we're all in the pandemic. And until it's gone, it's not gone, you know? Mm-hmm. And right now, it's definitely not gone. Over a long enough timeline, it finally got me, and it finally got Sky. We made it this far. Like Sky said, it was a good run. So just be safe, other people. Pay attention and don't get too comfortable here. It's not over yet. You got any final words, Sky, to the people that may have made it this far and haven't lost interest here?
I would just say, like Benji said, with knowing where your pocket's at, but not reconsidering life, but, also taking this time to examine, what it means to live, and are you living the way you want to live prior to, this, I don't know, there's a term, we gotta make up a term that sort of speaks this, because, like I said, like, there was a long point where we were just talking about it, and now we're infected by it. Yeah. And I don't know how to I don't know how to talk about not having it, because I have it, but no, I also want to think I'm recovering. I'm ready to not have it, and to jump around. But I'm also sort of not underestimating it, because I do know that I still feel kind of down, still not fully energized. Yeah. But I think that's that's what happens when you're sick. Yeah. So I'm also realistic, but stay positive and just remember that it's precious, all of it. Cannot just go. So appreciate the time. Yeah. Always. But I don't know, man. This is a crazy one.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
It's almost like a science experiment.
Yeah.
Hey, let's do COVID.
Let's do COVID.
But yeah, just at my grandma's house, chilling, chilling and healing.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna be healing until I'm done.
Long naps. I watched Game of Death a few times, loosely. Try to watch some good movies if you're in quarantine.
Then hang in there. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, people. Thank you for tuning in to the Natives in America podcast and the Reservation Radio Network. If you made it this far, please hit the like button, the thumbs up, or whatever you feel like. Throw a comment down, and we'll respond for sure. I'm just sitting around waiting to be healthy again. So, I don't as healthy as I was before this. Yeah, so, everybody, thank you for tuning in.
Peace.
Peace.